r/AskReddit by Redmond Dtes. What is something people absolutely need to stop getting offended over? Being wrong. It's okay to be wrong, as long as you're also willing to learn. I used to have a friend like this. She could not stand to be corrected and automatically felt as though you were attacking her or diminishing her, even though you were just trying to correct and help her. I burned that bridge and I am thankful for it. My friend tweeted about his grandma dying, and someone got mad at him for not adding a trigger warning. Third-party people who hear one side of a story assume that's all the facts and not any bias or perceptive distortion or a misunderstanding, and then go on to attack the other party who is also hurting from what happened between the first two parties. Declining their offer. Years ago my mom, she's gotten much better now, would offer to help with something, and if I said no she'd take it as a personal insult. One time I said I was coming to pick up my things as I was in the process of moving out. She said she can just hold on to them until I find a place. It was pretty clear she wanted to slow the moving process down as much as possible, but I said no thank you, I'd rather have them with me now. The conversation ended with her telling me to go to hell and threatening to throw my property on the lawn in the middle of the night cause I insisted instead of caved. Edit. Appreciate the awards. I have food allergies and automatically decline food when people offer. For most people that's the end of the story, but for a few it's completely unacceptable to turn down food. The worst was my auntie who knew I had a milk allergy but insisted I try her cake because it only had a little bit, which is actually fine for me, and it was amazing. After refusing for about 10 minutes I finally caved and just ate some. Took one bite and realized my mistake. Does this have Nutella in? Yes. Why? I'm deathly allergic to nuts. When I ask for ID to sell a product. Acknowledging physical characteristics in a non-racist way. For example, let's say you're at a party and there are 20 white people and one black guy. You're chatting to him for a bit and then he leaves. Later you're talking to someone else and you're like, I was chatting to someone earlier, can't remember his name. He had a yellow shirt on. Oh, he was the tall guy with glasses. Etc. etc. Just say it was the one black guy. People take these things way too far. Man, at both retail jobs I've worked I've had my white co-workers bounce around describing a customer as black. Like I can tell they wanna say it but they're a bit afraid, and I'm just like, a black guy right? And they're like yeah. I get it but just chill out, race is a good descriptor for finding someone, won't offend me. Rejection. Some people just don't seem to understand what a no means. Getting offended on other people's behalf just on the assumption that they'd probably be offended. Remember when people were getting offended by Speedy Gonzales and Mexicans started voicing out that they liked Speedy? I remember an interview on the local news and one Mexican guy was like, this is our only representation in media and you're going to try to take that away? Wikipedia covers it a bit. Offended by things that hurt no one. Tattoos, bad haircuts, men doing feminine things and vice versa. Such pointless things to be offended by, but people still do it. When I tell people about my weight loss goals, and I get it with a you look fine, or don't worry about what people think, or you don't need to lose weight and won't drop it, acting like I'm doing it out of self-hatred or something. Like, no, I do need to lose weight. I was 40 pounds over my healthy BMI, I've lose 10 so far, and I tend to lose 30 more. It has nothing to do with self-esteem, I already think I'm attractive. I just have to be realistic with myself and admit that I'm putting myself at risk. My family has a bad history of heart disease and diabetes, and I don't want to end up dead in the dirt at 55 like everyone else has. Some people lose weight for perfectly healthy reasons. It's not always just internalized hatred. Saying Merry Christmas. I don't celebrate Hanukkah, but if a Jewish person said Happy Hanukkah to me I'd be like oh sweet yeah bro Happy Hanukkah. It's literally just a day. Someone is telling you happy day. As a Jewish bus driver, one time I dropped off a Muslim woman at the hospital where she worked. She said to me Merry Christmas and I said Merry Christmas to you too. There was an awkward pause because we clearly didn't mean to say it to each other on purpose. It was just instinctive, but also not worth trying to rectify either. Seriously, it's not a big deal. It's just something funny to think about for me. Exactly. Although there is also the inverse of people getting offended about happy holidays. Really? You shouldn't get offended by any holiday greeting.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, happy everybody, happy holidays. And if you have a problem with happy holidays, then happy shut the fuck up.
Breastfeeding. Religion. I myself am a 100% atheist who doesn't believe in any gods or higher power. However, that doesn't mean I think all religious people are bad or wrong. In fact, I couldn't really care less what other people's personal beliefs are. They're free to believe whatever they want, and I'd hope they'd have the same opinion for me. People who get offended by people with religions other than their own need to get a grip. If it's not affecting you in any serious way, then why should you care? I do have an issue, however, when people try to force their religions onto other people. That is just wrong. You're free to believe what you want, but the minute you try to force those beliefs onto someone else who believes in something entirely different, you're being a dong. Jokes. I don't mean when someone says something horrible and then says, "I'm only joking." I mean comedians trying something that may or may not work with the audience. Especially jokes that were acceptable at the time they were told. A gay joke is a lot more likely to be frowned upon these days than 20 years ago, but that doesn't mean it was unacceptable 20 years ago. History. Yes, it was likely wrong, but the stuff happened in the past and you can't change it, so get over it and move on. We don't need to hear about how people or society need to apologize for it in modern times. Constantly. Move on. Learn from it. Do better. There was a post from a German on Reddit a while back, explaining the general feeling of Germans towards WW2 and the atrocities committed by the Nazis. They said something along the lines of, "That was 3 generations ago, so we don't feel any personal guilt about it. However, we do feel a moral obligation to ensure that sort of thing never happens again." That seems a reasonable attitude. Also, where a people have been screwed by another group and continue to feel the negative effects, I think it's reasonable for some sort of balancing or reparations to be made. For example, I live in New Zealand, where European settlers broke a treaty and stole hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, of acres of land from the Maori. Maori are still suffering the effects of that theft 150 years later. I didn't take part in that land grab 150 years ago, but I benefit from it indirectly, so I'm happy for my tax dollars to go towards reparations. To say no to reparations would be like saying, "We screwed you, but that's just tough. Suck it up and forget it." Late reparations should be the responsibility of the entities that committed them, though, and not of people who match a similar description to the people who committed the injustices, which you didn't demand. Sure, I'm German, but just because my great-grandfathers probably fought in World War II doesn't mean I personally need to donate to local synagogues to atone for their sins. Abortion. You don't know that freaking person. What they decide to do is absolutely none of your business. That's all, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.